In this video, we'll be talking about your successes with my roadmaps. As you know, I have my Paris roadmap and now my South of France roadmap based on the two mini Kellys, the blue one right there and the beautiful pink mini Kelly right here. My roadmaps are basically tips and, well, actual maps on how to get bags in Paris and in the south of France. So it's tips and tricks on scoring your dream Hermes bag in France. So many of you have been putting my roadmaps to test both in Paris and in the south of France. So in this video I will be talking about some highlights, some successes, and again I am just so overjoyed and so proud that my knowledge and my tips led you to your dream bags. So let's get into it. I feel like my followers that have gotten the Paris roadmap have much higher success chance at scoring your dream Hermes bags in Paris than those obviously that don't have my roadmap, because now it is high season, it is summer, it was just men's fashion week, and a lot of people have been turned away, told that there's no bags or that they need to come back with an appointment. And I gotta say, almost every one of my followers that messaged me that was running into problems in Paris was able to successfully get a bag, not just any bag, but a quota bag, a Birkin or a Kelly. And it's been about 10 days since my South of France roadmap came out, and so many of you messaged me with great successes, great scores with Hermes in the south of France, quota bags, Kelly's, Birkins. But also some of you who got my south of France roadmap applied the tips that I share there to other European countries and have walked away with crazy success stories. I think that in the last month, maybe like 5 of my followers were able to score mini Kellys in Paris. Different colors, obviously, but all with great success stories. And moreover, in the last month, so many of my followers were able to score, drumroll, special orders in Paris. Let me talk a little bit about Hermes special orders. So Hermes special order is reserved for truly special lovers of Hermes, loyal customers, and in any other country than France, it's very difficult to get a special order. You need to be usually a client of Hermes for a few years, you have to have a very high purchase history, and really have a long-term relationship with your sales associate. It's not that easy to score a special order. Now, so many of you came back from Paris with crazy stories that you were offered special orders, and apparently now in Paris they have these amazing iPads that you could see how the bag would turn out, which honestly is so much more than I could ever have hoped for when I was making these roadmaps. Like, these are crazy success stories, and again, I could not be more overjoyed that my roadmaps led you to these successes. Now, there is one case that I actually thought that I misunderstood my follower. So she got the South of France roadmap and she applied the tips in another European country. She sent me her story, and the story honestly was just like crazy. And she has given me permission to share some parts of the story. I always ask for permission to share if it is pictures of the bags or some stories, or if there's like anything at all that I want to share. I always ask for explicit permission, so that's why I feel like my followers are able to trust me with their stories and with their information, because they know that I will always respect their privacy, never post their photos, never post their names. So I'm so happy that I was able to create this trust, that my follower felt comfortable telling me her story. So she told me that she was applying the roadmap tips, and by the way, this was her very first time at Hermes, at any Hermes store, which, like, I have never heard of that happening. Like, if that case was a lottery, that would be like $1 billion Powerball lottery. So she goes to Hermes and she applies the tips in my roadmaps, and she also told me that when she was at the store, she could see that she was the only one applying the rules of my roadmap, and that all the other people were just like, I want to get a bag, like, can I please get a Birkin? You know, all of the things that the the Hermes sales associates absolutely love. That was a joke, of course. So she shopped and she spent, I think she spent around 4,000 euros between her and her fiance. And towards the end of the day, she was offered to come back the next day to create a special order. So fast forward to the next day, this is where like I actually at first I misunderstood her story. So she was offered not only to create one but two special orders, one from her account and one from her fiance's account. And not only she was able to create two special orders, but she was also able to create one of these special orders in exotic leathers, meaning not ostrich but alligator or croc. I'm not sure which one she picked. And then we need to talk about the hierarchy of special orders. Now, if you're offered a special order for the first or second or third time, usually it will be a special order that you could use normal Hermes leathers, which is Chèvre, Epsom, Togo, Clemence, and I think ostrich as well. But if you wanted exotics such as croc or alligator, you would need to get a special permission. And now these are very limited amount of exotic special orders that Hermes gives out. So she was actually able to make her exotic special order as well. Mind blown. I just could not believe that on her very first visit to Hermes, she was able to score not one but two special orders, and one of those special orders was in exotic leathers. Like, honestly, I have never heard of that. She did send me pictures and videos of which bag she designed and her processes. So yeah, like a very, very, very happy success story. And I just couldn't believe that my tips have led to such amazing stories, so many beautiful scores and success stories to your dream Hermes bags. I know that you always ask me to create roadmaps for other countries and other regions and other cities and the US and all of these things, and I don't feel comfortable creating roadmaps or any sort of guides for places that I have not personally gone and personally tested the stores, like, you know, felt the atmosphere, talked to sales associates. So I am also like relatively at the beginning of my journey. I want to say like all of this collection took me 3 years to build. Actually, it's going to be exactly 3 years in September of this year. So I'm still relatively at the beginning. I will be going to many more countries. I will be trying to buy Hermes bags. And if I succeed, or if I have like any sort of experience that I feel comfortable sharing with you, I will create those roadmaps. Now, a lot of you have asked me if my Paris and South of France roadmap tips will work for the US, and the answer is no. Unfortunately, there's no shortcuts in the US, and France is being like one of the only really truly exception countries where one can go and one can walk out, you know, with a mini Kelly, with a Birkin, you name it. So that's why I made the roadmaps for Paris and South of France. Now, so many of my followers did report success with the South of France tips working in other European countries. Obviously, this is not why I created the roadmap, but I have heard some success stories, so here's that. But I don't think that the tips for Paris or South of France will unfortunately work in the US. In the US, I share lots and lots of tips for free. I have my YouTube channel, I have TikTok, I have Instagram, I do Q&As on my stories. I make so much content to help you with that journey. However, I am thinking about how I can make this work and how I can give you more guidance on purchasing Hermes bags while you're traveling. So stay tuned for that. Definitely follow me on Instagram if you don't already, because usually I interact with my audience on my stories, and people that watch my stories, they know what's coming or not, if I'm doing any deals or not. So if that's something that is of interest to you, definitely make sure to watch my Instagram stories for any announcements. But something is in the works, and I hope that by the end of July I will be able to share more. And again, I could not be more proud and happy that my tips and my Hermes knowledge bank have led you to your dream Hermes bags. As always, with love.